you are seeing behind me is a 90p tank, and as you can see, it's a Dutch style tank. You might have already guessed, the light that we are using in this tank is Azure Nova 2. Soil that we have used in this again is Aquario Neo soil, and it's running on Aquario Neo pure media for this tank. But I'm not going to talk about this tank as a whole today. I'm going to talk about a fertilizer brand. It's an Indian made fertilizer brand, Aqua Vascular. We at Backwaters have tested a lot of fertilizers, and finally we are able to nail down to two brands. When we talk about imported brand, we think Masterline is doing well, but however our own Indian made brand Aqua Vascular is coming up big time. We have tried, tested over last 1 year. The results are awesome. So in this video I am going to introduce their fertilizers and other water additives. Let's promote nature and this balance together. First question that any hobbyist or our customers ask about fertilization starts immediately after they have planted. We have done a scape fresh. We have used a fresh soil. The tank is not old. The system is just running. I completed the planting. When should I start fertilizing? What fertilizers should I dose? And what is the quantity that I should use or dose? There is no single answer to this. Every tank behaves in a different manner. Every tank and the plants inside them demands fertilizer in a different manner. So today, for the purpose of understanding, I am going to stick to this 90p Dutch tank, and I am going to connect that to fertilizers of Aqua Vascular, and then I am going to talk about the dosing of Aqua Vascular fertilizer for this 90p Dutch style tank. So brand matters. Every brand has got different concentration, and also tank size matters because water volume differs, and also the density of the plant and the soil that you have used, everything actually matters. In fact, temperature also plays an important role. For our video, we are going to talk about a Dutch tank 90p which is kept under about 24 degrees under this gallery, and I am going to talk about Aqua Vascular fertilizers and how do we dose them. So you have done a scape. The question is, when should I start fertilizing and what? Immediate answer is you should immediately start from day one. If you don't anything else, you have to immediately start dosing potassium. And for 90p Dutch scape, you have to dose daily 4 to 5 ml of potassium. And the next step, from day one or from the first week, you should start dosing iron. Iron should be of high quality and bioavailable iron, and the dose is like once in 3 days, probably 2.5 to 3 ml. After a month, during this month, probably you may be required to dose the trace elements, micro elements, but after a month you should start the macro elements dosing. And after a month dosing, if you are using Aqua Vascular, this particular brand, you have to dose once in 3 days around 2.5 ml of macro and micro, and that's it for fertilization. But the point that you should understand is that you should watch the tank, watch how the plants are behaving. Are they getting any nutrients deficiency? Then you should start immediately probably macro. But what I am talking here is a general understanding of how you should start dosing the fertilizers. Aqua Vascular fertilizers, as we have seen, are highly concentrated fertilizers. So you should be cognizant when you dose these fertilizers. You should not be following the same regime that you might have followed for any other diluted fertilizers. So why do we recommend you should dose potassium from day one? Potassium is actually a limiting factor inside our acidic condition. Our tanks are all acidic condition, so naturally potassium will not be available. And please note that your aqua soil is not going to provide enough potassium for the plants even from day one. Specifically, if you are going to use in vitro plants or TC cup plants, you have to start dosing fertilizers from day one. So coming back to our point, you have to start dosing potassium from day one for 90p Dutch style 4 to 5 ml. Then comes iron. Iron is also another limiting factor. If you see inside the tank, there as well you have to choose a very high quality iron which will be bioavailable for our plants. And both aquavascular potassium, which they call as Calrich, and aquavascular iron, which they have named as Ferropure, as of high standards. Aquavascular range of products doesn't stop with these fertilizers. They also have hormones. Now talking about hormones, there is a tendency from all of us to say that hey, hormones, it's artificial, it's not natural and all those things. First up, what is natural inside our tank? It's a naturescape, or we are trying to bring in nature inside a tank. But right from the glass tank to the lights, filters, soil, everything is artificially made. It's not natural. So I don't personally think that to overstretch something and say that it's not natural, I mean, it doesn't make sense. But however, coming to the hormone part, hormone dosing is not, something not natural, because in nature plants do get these hormones, but in a natural manner. So just like how we are dosing fertilizers, we also need to dose hormones. Different brands brings out different fertilizers in different forms. Certain brands have hormones inside the fertilizers. Talking about aquavascular, they have kept the fertilizers free of hormones, and they are, however, giving hormones separate. Their hormones are called as PGR, 1 and 2. It's plant growth boost, they call it as 1 and 2. I'll just simplify these two things, right? PGR1, if you take this particular hormone, actually helps us overcome stunt growth or dormant growth. So when you have started a new fresh tank, or when you have introduced a new plant, or even if you have shifted a plant within a tank from one place to another, you can start using PGR1. It will help the plants to actually stabilize and settle down. Now coming back to PGR2, this is a very interesting hormone. PGR2, simply put, it will primarily help in the growth of tissues of the plants, which also means it will be specifically helping in side shoots and bushy growth and all those stuff for the plants. So PGR2 is something that you should have handy all the time. This is going to make a lot of difference, world of difference, I would say, because after dosing PGR2 within a week, you will be able to see the results. Specifically, if you watch Anubias or Bucephalantras, you can definitely see new shoots and leaves coming out after using this particular hormone. Yeah, so how should we be dosing this? So what they recommend is PGR1 and PGR2 should be dosed fortnightly, and they are also given the instructions how much you should dose for what. But PGR2, even if you overdose, there is no problem. PGR1, if you overdose, you will see a bigger distance between two internodes. So I wouldn't recommend you to overdose PGR1. Once you are fine with the plant growth, if you think the plants have settled down, switch to only PGR2. Aquavascular range doesn't end there. So we all know, apart from this NPK, micro, macro and all these elements, we also need to maintain calcium and magnesium, right? So normally we don't scare new hobbyists or intermediate hobbyists about GH and all those things, but once you are into planted aquarium for few months or few years, you will know the importance of maintaining the GH. We all have been using something called Seachem Equilibrium. That's a very easy product to relate to this thing. Basically, we need to maintain the measurements or availability of calcium and magnesium inside our planted aquariums, and GH booster, as Aquavascular calls, does the same job. So Aquavascular has got this product called CalMag. It's nothing but calcium and magnesium dosing, and it's also called GH boost. So why do we need this product? Do you want us to dose many products? Yes, we have to do that. If you have to maintain the balance, you have to keep dosing all these things. But what is required for your system? So calcium and magnesium are really important. Specifically, I get a question that why is calcium important? To simply say, calcium is really critical for the strength of stem plants, the stems of the plants, and also the rhizomes. And there comes what I say as a magical product from Aquavascular. It's Aquavascular Aqua Revive. We consider Aqua Revive as a magical product. It's a very complex formulation that people behind this brand has made. But what does it help us, right? What does it do inside the tank? It decomposes ammonia, it clarifies water, we all know that. Beyond that, what does it do? It makes sure our substrate or the soil is aerated well. It makes sure the fertilizers are available for the plants. It also decomposes, helps in decomposing the plant residues from the aquarium. We all know that the biggest cause of algae in our tank is the decaying organisms, specifically plant decay. This particular product, this Aqua Revive, actually helps pretty much well in taking care of that part. But right after planting, within a week, we saw here this particular Blixa japonica section being getting decomposed, or it started decaying basically. We also saw a lot of decaying of Cuba that we have tried out here. Also we have planted some Utricularia graminefolia that also started decaying. But then we started using PGR2. Within a week, or probably I can say within 4 days, we can see the results. Here on the left side, now we are not seeing any decay at all. The plants have settled down. Cuba, yes, we did replant it again from the same batch of plants we received. There is no decaying out here. And UG also, interestingly, it has stopped decomposing. In fact, it is now coming out pretty well. We can see that the plant is settling down well, which means aquavascular hormones are working out well. We have also tried out this particular fertilizer range also. We are dosing this particular tank with aquavascular. We will bring you the results, but already we know this is an excellent brand. So if you are a serious hobbyist and if you want to get into planted aquarium and get into it deep, I would encourage you to use what we call as NPK methodology, which is taking care of dosing individual elements separately rather than going for a comprehensive or complete solution. Of course, if you have the time and the willingness to spend, because this particular methodology will help us understand how nutrients work, what nutrients we need, how do we identify a deficiency, because we are going to dose it differently and we know what we have dosed, what we have dosed more, less. So the plants are going to show off those deficiencies, we are going to dose it back, algae bloom will come, we know what we have dosed more, when we reduce it, the algae will come down. So to simply put, this NPK methodology as opposed to the comprehensive complete nutrition methodology will help us learn this hobby and the way in which we have to maintain the balance quicker. I hope I gave a brief introduction about aquavascular range of products, and more importantly, I believe I was able to impart some amount of small knowledge that I got from many people to you through this video. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, bye bye.